apologies in advance. I don't know where the other wheel is, so we're gonna deal with this wheel. And if I find something that I've already spawned, then we'll just spin it again. And let's see, my next gym is going to be Fairy. Okay. And I just realized that my headphones are still plugged in, so you probably heard that. So it's time for the new kid on the block, the Fairy type. And I have two inspirations to go off. Valerie that was introduced in Gen 6 and Opal that was introduced in Gen 8. Offhand, I don't recall if there's any fairy specialist in Paldea, and I don't consider anybody from Alola since they aren't traditional gym leaders. Unfortunately, I can't take inspiration from Valerie's gym since the teleportation that she uses in her gym would make it seem like a psychic gym instead. So, that only leaves Opal. And here's the idea I came up with. The idea that I came up with is this is an alternate timeline since Pokemon has been diving into stuff like that recently, where instead of Bede taking over Opal's gym, I take over the gym instead. But instead of taking the gym and putting it in Balonlea like Opal's gym already is, I decided to conceal it in the Glimwood Tangle. It's already on your way to get to the gym, so it'll certainly be a surprise when you run into the gym before you actually reach the town where the gym used to be. As you're traveling through the Glimwood Tangle, you come across a cave. Certainly an unusual sight, but since there's no other way to go, you enter the cave. Once you enter the cave, you have 4 different options of where you can travel through, and you also notice there are some rocks lying on the ground. But with nobody to guide you and no support or any idea of where you're going, you just start traveling through the cave. Eventually, you come across one trainer. This trainer gloats that he knows the answer to get through to the cave, but in order for you to figure it out, you have to defeat them first. Unlike a lot of hikers that use Pokemon like Onix and Geodude, this one uses exclusively Carbink, which makes sense considering it's a fairy gym. After you defeat him, he explains that you have to consider the amount of rocks on the floor and also consider an aerial view of the cave. Looking at an aerial view, the very top exit of the cave would be the 12 o'clock mark. The far right one would be the 3 o'clock mark, the bottom one will be the 6 o'clock mark, and the far left one will be the 9 o'clock mark. From there you have to count the number of rocks on the ground and enter the according door. After traveling through this successfully 3 times, you reach the gym. Sorry for all the confusion it took to reach my gym. I was really inspired by this cave that I found somewhere, and I decided to incorporate it here. But you're not here to listen to my life story. Let's battle. As the battle begins, I send out my first Pokemon, Wigglytuff. Definitely a fat mon as far as HP is considered, and considering the wide variety that it gets in his moveset, you have to be prepared for anything. Considering Wigglytuff's defenses are much stronger than its actual offensive presence, you're able to defeat it easily. After you defeat Wigglytuff, I send out my second Pokemon, Shiinotic. Nice reference to the fact that it and its pre-evolution can be found in the Glimwood Tangle. But it's a grass and fairy type. If you got a handy poison type, you should have no trouble at all. After taking out 2 of my Pokemon, I decided to bring in the big guns, Ribombee. While it doesn't look too threatening on paper, it actually has a high special and speed stat, and considering its wide variety in moveset, especially considering that it can carry moves like Psychic and Energy Ball to counter any Pokemon that you may bring, it's definitely going to be a challenge. But considering Ribombee has paper defenses, it should be no trouble at all to take it out. After Ribombee's taken out, I send out my 8th Pokemon, Misdreavus. Initially, it isn't too weird to find a Misdreavus considering this is a cave setting, but after I terrestrialize it, it becomes a fairy type instead. Misdreavus, like a lot of my other Pokemon, has a pretty impressive special attack, but considering it's a Misdreavus and not a Mismagius, it shouldn't be that difficult to defeat, even with the type change. And with that, you defeat my gym. In hindsight, I probably should have terrestrialized something that wasn't my Misdreavus. But I'm sure it was a nice surprise anyway. Did you know that Misdreavus in primal times were actually fairy type? Go figure. Right, your gym badge. Here, take this one that Opal have. The fairy badge. Not really an exciting name. I should probably rename it to something else. And there's my fairy type gym. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you didn't catch the little hint in the middle of the video, the Mischievous terastallizing into a fairy type is a nice little reference to Fluttermane, and the cave that you have to travel through to reach my gym is a reference to the Lost Cave in the Sevi Islands, where Mischievous can be found in Leaf Green. A little bit of a double reference there if you haven't caught it already. But I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your fairy type gym would be down in the comments section, and I'll see you next time. Momentai.